Hello.
Hello. Hi,
Hi,
everyone.
Sarah. Hi, everyone. I missed you.
We missed this. I can
Yeah.
feel it. We had so much fun backstage, but it's even gonna be more exciting with our viewers live. So hello,
Yes.
everyone. We missed you guys.
We missed everyone and we missed doing this. And before we start, let me just say and greet you belated happy birthday.
Thank you.
I know
I
the
wish we could celebrate
decoration.
together.
Oh yeah, the decoration at the back of your like at the at your back, like in your backdrop, is that part of the celebration?
It's part of my birthday celebration, and it'll be up until Christmas and New Year.
Woohoo! Yeah, we love recycling, reusing stuff. Yep. That
Yep.
works. So again, hello and welcome to the Future of Women Web and Work, a show that puts the spotlight on entrepreneurs and industry experts so they can share lessons and insights that will encourage an honest conversation around what it takes to build a life and business that you love in the post-pandemic world. So we are your hosts. So I'm Susie and Sarah on the other screen. And we created the Future of Women Web and Work to create an online community that brings together women from all over the world who are prioritizing their dreams, personal growth, and living a passion fueled life. This show is a place to collaborate, share, ask questions, keep each other accountable, and support one another as we do what we love, whether it's business, an artistic pursuit, or an alternative lifestyle. So today's show is a special partnership with our friends from ESME Philippines, an e-learning marketplace available for everyone. And please do visit their website. So now I'm going to ask you something. If this show is valuable to you and if you've watched our past episodes and learned from the future of women web and work, we would love if you can share this. So let us know once you've shared this stream so we know that we could so we can thank you later. And also let us know where you're from. If you're tuning in live, I hope like people from different sides of the world what your business is. Yeah. So we're excited to have you live with us, and please do share your comments, and we're gonna try to put that up on the screen and answer your questions as well. So type hashtag team live if you are tuning in live, and hashtag team replay if you are tuning in later on. So we will mention you in the show no matter what. And sorry, now I forgot to say my name. My name is Suzie Abela, and I'm the chief fashion coach of the modernmaria.co, an online coaching and mentoring company which aims to empower passionate women with tools and knowledge they need to start turning their ideas into a viable business.
And I'm Sarah Fernandez. I founded the Next Wave Co., a strategic consultancy offering advice, marketing services, the tools, resources, confidence, and the motivation to sustainable SMEs wanting to launch or scale their eco brands in Asia. So please follow me on social media at the Next Wave Co. Say hi in the comments and tell us where you're tuning in from. I see Nina Aspasaga from YouTube. She says good afternoon. Good afternoon, Nina. For those who have been following our journey since the very beginning, this show started inside our private Facebook group called the Passionate and Empowered Women Entrepreneurs. So we started this community during the height of the pandemic. Met a lot of inspiring women from all over the Philippines, as well as entrepreneurs from US and Europe and Asia who we've guested on the show. That Susie and I felt that we could bring our message across a bigger audience. So we've decided to transfer this small community to a public page and be on YouTube. So that's something you should be watching out for in 2021. Are you excited, Suze?
Yes, and scared at the same time.
I mean,
Most
we've been
excited.
we've been doing ESME, and I think we got the hang of it, and I think it's time for us to move to a public domain.
Yes, yes, we're ready.
We are ready. But before we even talk about the future, we have a few days left before Christmas and the New Year. If you are one of many people who have struggled this year, whether it's in your career or personal life, if you're dreaming to live up to your fullest potential and are on a quest to make a difference in the world in 2021, Or if you want to know how to be conscious and mindful as a woman entrepreneur, a daughter, or a mother, then this show is for you. So, born and raised in Copenhagen, Denmark, today's guest often traveled back to her mother's homeland here in the Philippines. In her 20s, she stayed in Manila for Institute for Social Entrepreneurship of Asia. She did 5 years in Manila and interning for Amnesty International during her bachelor in ISEA. So during her Masters of Innovation and Entrepreneurship at Copenhagen Business School, she did that here. She wrote her master's about agricultural social entrepreneurship in the Philippines, and in this connection, she first started her business Roots Food, importing Philippine moringa in Denmark. She also co-founded Pinoy's Festival, a cross-cultural festival that celebrates contemporary art, dance, indie films, and music that's been held in Copenhagen, Paris, and Manila. She's also been a speaker for Asia Days, CBS Entrepreneurship Day, as well as facilitating and mentoring for a number of events. For the love of entrepreneurship and female empowerment, she is also a partner in Collie & Co., a Copenhagen-based collagen food brand with an all-female team. That's super cool. And recently, she founded Mind Power by Jackie Luzy, where she uses a combination of her experiences as an entrepreneur and mindfulness teaching to provide tools for more focus, better performance, and conscious leadership. So please help me welcome entrepreneur, project manager, festival director, and now a certified mindfulness instructor, Jackie Luzy.
Hi guys.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, Jackie.
Thank you so much. And what an amazing introduction. I feel honored and I feel overwhelmed. And I feel like, wow, is that all I've done in my life? That sounds amazing when you see it.
And more.
And more.
Yeah. It's not done yet. It's never done.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're so excited to have you here. I mean, we all have like different conversations from the backstage, from the first meeting and everything. And I'm sure Sarah and I would learn a lot from your experience. I mean, it took Sarah like maybe 5 minutes to do the introduction for you. So I am like really excited to get to know about your journey as an entrepreneur. So maybe we can start with that. Like, how did your entrepreneurial journey start? And I know that you're half Filipino, so why was Manila very special to you?
So when I grew up in Copenhagen, Denmark, and I've been as a kid to the Philippines, but then I didn't go back for many years. And when I was 17, I came back again, and I was like really drawn to the unknown side of the country. And so when I was in my early 20s, I started to come back, and I started my first internship with Amnesty International in Quezon City.
Mm-hmm.
I think Teachers Village it's called.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
then I was really wrapped up in that life there, and I got introduced to the indigenous people. And I never knew that we had like 13, 14 million indigenous people around the country. That I wasn't taught in my upbringing here. So I was really excited, and it's really something that it started my love for the Philippines. And then actually my journey mainly started in Boracay, going on vacations there, and then getting local friends and living there for a few months, etc. But then I was bored.
Did you try fire dancing?
I'm sure you did.
In a way that I wanted to create something, but it wasn't there. I love going back to the islands, but the creativity for me wasn't there. And so I came back to the Philippines and with Amnesty, and then it kind of blossomed more into really step by step falling more and more in love with Manila, especially in the process of meeting a lot of artists and meeting a lot of these different kind of talents that I felt never was really shown to us in the North. At least I was like, we have so much other talent than taking care of your babies and cleaning your house. There's people here
Mm-hmm.
who are amazing musicians, upcoming in indie films, etc. I was so blown away, and so that's why I think we're like a group of 10,
Mm-hmm.
Filipino, French, Filipino, British, Filipino American, who started this group based in Copenhagen, to wanting to work with Filipinos who show just a different side and that kind of talent. And I've also seen it then blossom in other ways, because this was like 7, 8 years ago, I think,
Right.
so that this whole thing started. 2012, the first ideas for this came about, and that's when I really started to fall in love with the life in Manila. That no matter how chaotic it was, there's always seems to be these beautiful secrets around the city.
Right, right. Okay, so that's again a lot of things, but um, what I really adore about you is that I think it shows how passionate you are with your roots. Like you are very grounded on your Philippine roots, and I love that because not a lot of people do that. Like some people leave the country and that's it. But you know, you are half Filipino, but you decided to go back and discover or rediscover your roots. And one of your first enterprise or one of your first businesses is called Roots Food. Sorry, what's that? Um, Root Foods. Roots Food.
Root
Sorry.
food.
Yes. So tell me about it. Tell me about this first business venture, and maybe through this we can inspire all the people who are tuning in right now and listening that you know you can start with something that is your you know you're passionate about or something that is really grounding to you.
So as I was studying, I got more interested in social entrepreneurship. I found it very interesting that you could actually make impact and do business at the same time, because I
Right.
think I wasn't really cut out for working at NGOs. I wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of entrepreneurship is much more hands-on, but I also felt kind of withdrawn from entrepreneurship when it became too much about like profit, for profit,
Right.
instead of focusing on the idea. And you have to think about that time, that was 10, 12 years ago. So
Mm-hmm.
in that context, at least what I experienced here at home, we weren't thinking so much about social entrepreneurship. That was just the start of Muhammad Yunus, who did the banking for the poor in India,
Mm-hmm.
right? So this is
Mm-hmm.
something that the past decade has brought on to the world, which I think is absolutely amazing. So in that journey, I felt like, okay, I can actually do business with the Philippines and I can bridge my two worlds. And I think I'm so passionate about working with the Philippines because maybe somehow that was taken away from me in my upbringing. I wasn't taught these things. I was taught to be,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be Danish and integrate and earn money here and be able to have a successful life. And
Mm-hmm.
as the world in my upbringing became more open, cheaper flights, more transparency during the internet, and more understanding of how we work globally and how we do um, trading globally. I thought there was like a huge opportunity, and I think it was in 2013 the super typhoon hit, and we
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
wanted so badly to go there, but my business partner and I, who was my classmate, who's married to a Filipino, we were like discussing if we should go back or to do something, or if we
Mm-hmm.
should try to make a sustainable business. So that was basically our initial thought about looking for some crops, because my master's thesis was actually about cocoa sugar. So that was
Right.
about empowering the cocoa sugar farmer for an alternative income, right? And
Yeah.
so, and at that time we had no cocoa sugar at the shelves here either, but we
Can
saw.
I, yeah, I was just gonna say, back in 2012 or 10 years ago, cocoa sugar wasn't even that cool
No.
here.
Yeah.
And now it's everywhere. And
Yeah.
even moringa, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But I think we chose moringa because of the ability to grow everywhere. So even after the super typhoon hit, there would some of the surviving trees would be moringa trees. It was so like a symbol of resilience, and
I
also
love
like
that.
complete nutrition source. So if
Mm.
you're very limited of getting the balanced diet that you need, at least in these affected areas, moringa would be something that you could help get your immune system back because of the high content of different sorts of nutrition. And so I'm not a nutritionist, and I had to learn all of this, and I decided to figure out how I could get Philippine moringa to Denmark. And I realized that also that moringa is of pretty high standard and quality in the Philippines. So I thought this was actually a way in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Sorry, I'm just curious about it. But can you grow moringa in Denmark?
So
I mean, it's
no, not in the same
No.
scale. You have to go from the south of equator. So you'll see it in Africa, India. You'll see it in. I was in Cuba. They have it in Cuba.
Right.
And like so,
Oh.
it has to be tropical.
Tropical.
Or arid, like in Africa. It can also do in really dry, but it has to be hot.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it can grow here, but it kind of dies out. It's not in the same. I haven't seen it tested as in a farming. I think south of Europe, way south of Spain, I've heard.
Or maybe it's, I don't know, south of France, maybe.
Yeah.
Mhm. You need some sun, no?
Yeah, it has to be really. Yeah, I'm not even sure France. It has to be really south, and then you would have to have like the space for growing it, right? So
Right.
Yeah.
I just remembered my biology thesis in high school. We made paper from malunggay.
I did.
And,
Yeah.
and we're no chemists. So we were just I think we saw a paper from, it might be from the University of the Philippines, and we were like, let's try this out and see if it works. It did work a bit. But again, we were just kids in high school. So
That's exciting though.
that's interesting, right?
Yeah.
Jackie, what I love about you, and what I can totally relate about you is the part where you were trying to find your identity, and you spoke about Pinoys earlier, and the many artists and creative people you met here. I love that you were able to reconnect with and embrace both cultures. So let's talk about falling in love with your roots, the Filipino culture and the creative scene. So you, together with other people you've mentioned, co-founded Pinoys as a platform for Filipino artists, both traditional and contemporary, to transcend borders and promote their art and identity to Europe, as well as connect Filipino Europeans like you to the Philippines.
Yes.
So will you tell us how you got started with this project after Roots Food, and what you aim to achieve in the future? Because everything's going digital now.
Yes. Oh, I'm glad you asked me that question. So, first of all, after I came back and I learned so much about the indigenous people through Amnesty International, I met a band called Talahib, and I was like super enchanted by this whole roots music that I've never heard before. And so I thought, I mean, none of my Filipino relatives and family here in Denmark and Wella know this. They don't know this. And so I went home and I talked to my mixed group of Filipino friends, and who all has some kind of talent. So there's a dancer in the group, there's a musician, contemporary dancer, Ray Roa, musician Andy Rhoda. And then we just brought together all of this, and I was like, do you like, shouldn't we do like a festival? I mean, it was really like, when you manifest something and you go and just, hey, I just think this is great. I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. I've never done a festival. I've never made an application. I've never done anything. And somehow I remember we were at a cafe, 10 people in a circle, and and some knew each other and some didn't. And we were all there kind of like, yeah, that sounds cool. A Filipino kind of festival. That's all, right? And we just knew it was supposed to be different than our Titas type of festival. We just knew that it was supposed to shed light, or else we didn't know anything. And I think we just went like, okay, there's some art council funds we can apply, and this is kind of the program, and it kind of took shape, and everybody said, why are you in this? And most of the group was in it because of some kind of trying to identify with their roots and trying to figure out somewhere else, because either if they were full-blood Filipinos, they grew up in Denmark, or they were Filipino American. There was kind of like this kind of mixed group, and so and they have all kind of sensed this kind of talent there, but not really. So that's how it really started. And I think within a year we had like the funding to it, and we flew over Talahib band of 10 people, as well as art. We got sent over, printed. Jetro, you guys know Van Gogh is bipolar?
Yes,
Yes,
I do.
and Robert Alejandro.
Alondra.
Yeah, they were all here that first time we ever did it, and they did live art and live performances. And
Wow.
so, and I think we had like 250 people in as live audience who
Yeah.
enjoyed, and so that was like
Cool.
September 2013. Yeah, that was the first very
Nice.
Filipino festival that's very dear to us, and we were down all night to live music, and it was it was amazing. And we actually got because at that time there was another cultural festival at the other side of the country, so we also got to send the artist over to the other side of the country to perform there and do other stuff. So it wasn't just at our festival, so that the Danish audience actually also could enjoy
Relate to, right.
to see another side of the Philippines. So yeah. But so what's happening now is that we had one more festival, and we joined Filipino Film Festival with Christophe, who's our film curator and French Filipino. And that's when the indie film really came in. And then we did one in Paris where it was just film festival. And then at one point we decided now we need to do it the opposite way. And so we brought Nordic artists to Manila, and that's when I think it went it went just like all the synergies just went together. It was amazing because it was in the Metropolitan Theater, and we were doing the last performance, one of the few performances that was allowed in there before it opened. We had a support with NCCA, the National Commission of Culture and Arts, I think it's called.
And arts. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it was a walking performance, and we literally had 200 people walking in there and following around. And it was dangerous in some of the rooms in the old theater, right? And yeah, that was amazing. And then we had another one last year, where we also brought more Nordic artists, and that was around Poblacion in different venues for 3 days. And obviously, as the pandemic hit earlier this year, with a lot of help of we have a couple of project managers in the Philippines who are a part of PNORS now, because there's so much going on back and forth. So Justine, who's in Nido right now, she was like handling doing the online festival. So we did a lot of people contributed with some online live music during the pandemic, when we didn't know, when the first lockdown happened around March, right? It was like everything's closed, we don't know what's going to happen, let's just so that's how it went on. But now we're kind of trickling back with PNORS and thinking about having some of the performances on something called Boon TV, which is where you can pay a little fee to watch the performance, to still be able digitally to empower the artists, and then at the same time people can also do like live now, comment something as Christians and stuff like that. So that's a new format that we're trying to do because next year it's such a pity that the pandemic is here, because the Filipino embassy supports us. And they next year is the Danish Filipino diplomatic friendship 75-year-old anniversary, right? So the intention was that we could do some events, but now it's quite limited, right? We wanted to, you can't even think about bringing people over for a performance. It's like, okay, we can maybe do some gallery, and then we're expecting to do some film showing. That is like the format. So there will be a lot of new activities happening. So so that's exciting.
I'm very much excited to learn about what you guys can do in terms of digital experiences. So I'm sure it'll be as amazing as your live events.
Hopefully. I mean, this obviously, when it comes to arts, there is something that is just there when you're there live. We all know that cannot, but it will be the next best thing, and there will be some. We have to think a bit creatively, and so
Yeah.
see how not only how we can do it digitally, but maybe also do maybe a hybrid kind of model. So let's see.
Very
Oh,
good.
yeah. I'm really excited to see that. Because I think a lot of people are pivoting now to a digital platform, and yeah. So if this is going to happen, please let us know, and we
Definitely.
can definitely share that everywhere. Yeah. And this is something that I also want to talk about, aside from the Pinoys and the first ventures that you had. And I think this is one of the most valuable things that you can share as well with all the starting entrepreneurs, or the even the seasoned entrepreneurs, because everybody's scared of starting a business, because, well, there's always the fear of failure, but also the fear of bankruptcy. And I know you've experienced the pressure of running a startup, and all of this, different projects. At the same time, you were 8 months pregnant and nearing burnout. So, can you tell us the story of
Yeah.
the experience?
Yes. So I was running the first version of Roots Food, and
Mm-hmm.
as any startup, I stumbled upon a lot of new challenges that I hadn't met before. So there was all of these rules and regulations. There was all of this. What is moringa? Is it a vegetable, or is it a supplement? And that's very important here, because they can close it at the border when you import a lot, and then you've lost all your money. And then
Mm-hmm.
also the prioritization of how to run my business and what to prioritize. And just at one point, we were just in a dead end. And I will say there's a lot of reasons, but one of the reasons was at that point for me was that we had all agreed that I was supposed to take a little salary to run full time by the
Mm-hmm.
investment loan we got, and we had an angel investor who put up some money and for a convertible loan, meaning that he could at any time take that convertible loan after 2 years and say, I want the money back, or I want it into shares. And it happened to be that he didn't want the shares, he wanted the money back. And that completely ruined us, because every time we had money in the bank, we had to pay him. That means we were completely in a standstill in terms of product development, in terms of like every time we had organically gotten money into the company, we couldn't print new stuff, we couldn't develop. And that meant that for the longest time, I was really stuck with just moringa powder, which was something that just wasn't commercial, and it will never be commercial just as that. Either I would have to go in and import lots of stuff like that, acai powder, spirulina, matcha, and have a whole series, or I would have to product develop, which is something that I wanted to do, make something out of it, like snack bars, teas, develop something that is more an end product for the consumer who wants to consume it and who can see it very easily, because you have to think about nobody knew moringa at that time here. And at that point, I was like, I kind of, oh, that's new and that's exciting, and that's why I'm going to get success. But in hindsight, I was like, no, you need people to promote it and to get you need everybody to eat it. And then you have to show your own value for that type of moringa, the way you use it.
Mm-hmm.
Successful. But that's obviously in hindsight, and not knowing and taking the wrong decision after the other, which I completely take responsibility for in terms of not having the right mindset towards it. And when I look, there was difference of reasons. I was in a more tech-based environment.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that wasn't the right environment for me. The right environment came later, which was food entrepreneurs, because it has a different life cycle. You have very
Mm-hmm.
heavy production, and you have very heavy on that food expires, food waste, and all of these stuff, which is so completely different than the digital world. And
Mm-hmm.
also there was the mindset of today, if I could go back and shake myself, I would just be like, take a break. and stop thinking negatively and stop worrying, because that worry will manifest more worry and more troubles.
Yes. Yeah.
Worry, calm down, and then, just make it work, or do something else, or talk to the guy and make an agreement and say, you're killing our business. Just do something where I was just in a standstill. And when you get to that point of anxiousness and
Mhm.
a bit stressed, it's hard to get up again. People
Mhm.
tend to just do like this. They don't want to open the bills, and
Yeah.
everybody knows this. Like, you don't want to face it. You're not brave enough to face it.
Mhm.
And I wish
Mhm.
at that point that I was braver enough, or that I had someone who could actually see, Jackie, your own mindset right now is freaking blocking you, and you have to just take a break, restitute, and then figure out, okay, how do I get out of this? And eventually I did. So in some
Mhm.
ways, I'm happy that I did at one point. And I remember I went into to the investor angel, and we still owed him maybe 30,000 Danish kroners. And I said, there's really no more money in the bank. I
Mm.
owed him 50. And I said, there's really no more money in the bank. What we can do is that we can give you the last 20 for the last I'll sell before it expires in
Yeah.
the expiry date. I'll sell it to Ireland. There was a buyer in Ireland. It's like, oh, I'll sell it to
Mhm.
Ireland, and that's what you get. But then after that, we have to go like bankrupt, and
Right.
and that's the deal. And then somehow a strength came into me, and I did the negotiation, and I was brave enough to do the negotiation to get what I wanted out of that situation. And when we came out of
Mhm.
it, I remember clearly my business partner, he was like, you have become really good at negotiating. You have become really good at like triumphing the things that you want to get. And him coming from corporate, I took it as a big compliment.
Mhm.
But also that I realized like a lot of it was because I decided to. A lot of it was a mindset saying, I'm not going to sit here and whine. I have to do something. It
Right.
doesn't help being the victim. It doesn't help sitting here being a baby, being like, but
Mhm.
so, hindsight, I was like, there were so many things I was worried about. And
Right.
worry is a vibration of fear, and is really bad for the law of attraction, because the universe or God will hear your worry and fear, and you'll get it. And they'll be like, oh, you want worry and fear? There you go. But as soon
You
as
have more.
you know what I mean? It's like, so
Yes.
I realized, okay, that when I was pregnant and was getting so anxious about things, I started meditating. And
Mhm.
basically I said, especially after I've given birth, I decided that I'm not going to come home and be sad. I can't
Mhm.
put energies that I had throughout my whole pregnancy towards my
Mhm.
and also my boyfriend, right? My partner.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
it's like it's just, if I want to follow my dreams, if I want to not work corporate and still want to create something and be an entrepreneur, then I need to have a better mindset, and I need to work on myself. And I thought, you know what, I have everything to win and nothing to lose.
Mhm.
Meditating is for free, and I think I bought like there's a Danish woman here who's doing these so specific meditation. So I spent a few hundred kroners on that, and that was it. And I was like, okay, every day you wake up, it's for free to do. Just commit yourself 20 minutes to this guided meditation, and somehow it just got me stronger. And I realized the stronger I got, the more right people came into my life. I met more entrepreneurs who had been through the same thing. I met
Mhm.
and who was like giving me the sense of community, and giving me the sense of like, what is really the worst thing that can happen, Jackie? What is the worst thing that can happen? At least you're in Denmark,
Yeah.
you won't live on the streets. So that is like the worst thing that can happen. And so slowly,
Mhm.
I think actually it wasn't that slowly. It was in a few months that it actually started to become really like something that manifested in my life. I was more positive.
Mhm.
And then, you already have, you started not worrying about the business anymore because it was already closed.
Yeah.
And there was a few things left. And then at one point they called me because, you get these papers and you look like it's from the court, my God, standard, right? But when you're so new, and then just, you realize that people have done this for millions, and you have like a debt of like, okay, calm down. It's not like really big. You already agreed with the guy how much that would be.
Yeah.
And all of these things where you have to kind of like not make it worse than it is, right?
Yeah.
And so what happened was that I remember there was a lawyer, a curator lawyer, who she called me, and I was like, oh my God, thank God it's a woman. And she was just like asking me about the business and asking me how like things were going, and just what was, if I had still stock and if I had any machines or anything left that I think she was supposed to, if I had distributed and then make sure that all the got whatever, right? But there wasn't really anything there. We had kind of tried to close it nicely in the process. And then that was it. And from that on, I felt like, okay, I really did this. I did it well. I got out of this. And then what happened is that I started to manifest a new business in my life. And within, I think, when my maternity leave was over, I started working for a vegan ice cream company.
Yes.
So that was the next journey. And I'll tell you, that went bankrupt as well. So
sorry, guys, not to offend anybody who has gone through the same journey as you, Jackie, with the whole bankruptcy. We're laughing because you've
yeah,
right, yeah. So will you tell us more about the ice cream business?
Yes. So first of all, when Roots Food closed and went bankrupt, that was just, a time, I think like 6 months after I opened Roots Food Nordic, and then I did it in a completely different setup. And that's still alive today, but as a minimal business on rootsfoodnordic.com, where I do Roots Food teas and still work with moringa, but not full on. So learning from past experiences, and also working on mindful energy, something that is more aligned with my why and my purpose, right? And so in the process of meditating, I wanted to become a mindfulness instructor. But I also wanted to still work entrepreneurial. I still wanted to learn a lot more. And then I attracted a work for a vegan ice cream company called Chris. And the vegan ice cream company was semi-known because it had been in a television program where it got investment for these TV investors in Denmark, but it was still a small business. And after 3 months, the owner hired me as her CEO. And after 3 months, she wanted to close the company and wanted to get out. And I saw the opportunity, and I called my CFO, my business partner, Daniel, in Roots Food, and said, I think it's a shame if she closed it now, because she still have, at that point, I think like 12 pallets of ice cream. There's still a storage. There's still like clients. There's still threats, and there's still like stuff going on there. But I think what is missing is a better profit. It's a really good product. It's really good coconut, and the ice cream was made of coconut from the Philippines.
Oh,
so
wow. You have a soft spot for this.
Yes, so it's like, okay, maybe we should try anyway, because then maybe in time when we change this, and we had to change the name and rebrand and everything, but we thought there was at least a little bit of it, a little bit of a jump start. It already had some revenue out there, and I thought we could take it to the next level. So the first year of last year, I was supposed to get to know the ice cream business more, figuring out the ins and out. And then we had decided that, I had decided that I thought the food service industry, which is tourism, events, hotels, restaurants, were a better fit for this ice cream because of the products being, there was a lot of mess in terms of the pricing. So the earnings was little to none in retail, in supermarkets. So I wanted to take that out and get into the other markets where I could have a bit of profit, and then get that better profit, then get another investment, and then go back to retail with a new brand name, right? So that was the whole idea. But then the pandemic came and Corona came. All my events, all my agreements with 7-Eleven got closed. All the big events, the hotels, didn't. I had meetings set up for a big food fair, and all of that got canceled from one day to the other. And then I was selling popsicles online, and I did get some support. I did get like several clients a week, so we were out every day delivering ice cream in greater Copenhagen area, but it was a mess because ice cream melts, so you need to have like really good logistics. And it's thanks to Peter, my friend, who was helping me with logistics and working for me, because that was like a chaotic time. But I felt like I couldn't think clearly. What is it we should do? At least we still have ice cream at storage that was reserved for 7-Eleven, who now canceled. So at least let me try, even if it's cheap, to get rid of it and just see what's happening. And as the months went on, I got more and more into mindfulness. So I started with the Susanne Vixer Academy here in Copenhagen, and started to train to become a mindfulness instructor. So that was something that I've already wanted, but I thought I need to do it now because the pandemic is happening. I don't know what's going to happen. And this is my one opportunity. I think this year is the one opportunity to say when so much craziness is happening in the world, it's your responsibility now to look into what you really want to do and what you're really passionate about, and then see how you can make that happen. So it ended up I had to go bankrupt with the ice cream company because of all these cancellations. Thank God I also kind of somehow managed to close it well, and I actually managed to sell the brand, meaning I sold the ice cream brand and the name and the recipes to a bigger player who has a big vegan ice cream production facilities, and works with the biggest vegan ice cream brand, or vegan brand actually, here in the Nordics. And so, but they caught me on, I was crawling, they caught Chris Ice Cream Company at its lowest. So they had, they knew I was closing. So the negotiation was quite hard, and I couldn't get it at a really good price, but at least I got to pass it on. So probably next seasons, because it's winter here now, probably they're gonna relive the brand. So the brand is still here. Yeah.
I know for anyone who's starting to about to start their own business, and you're in that you're in love with your business idea, right? You don't think of any exit strategies whatsoever. I'm going to be friends with my investors and my business partners. And from both of your stories, what I'm hearing is that I don't think it was in hindsight it wasn't there, but because of the circumstances, you've had to cut clean, like you've had to close shop very cleanly. And so how important is an exit strategy for any entrepreneur? And also maybe you can tell us your biggest takeaway from both bankruptcies. What advice would you tell entrepreneurs who may be in the same situation as you?
Well, I would say it's such a cliche, but everything happens for a reason. And I think that you shouldn't be afraid to start over again, and then take all your learnings with you. I was told this so many times, but it took me a while to really listen, but really learn to kill your darlings. Like, if it's not working out, if you're in a relationship with someone and it's not working out, you would break up. So sometimes I would say the same, that break up, stop it, think, restitute, figure out what it was that went wrong, do it again. But there's also ways of just being, because I rather want you to be bold. For me, my biggest takeaway is that if I had listened to my intuition more, maybe it would have been here. At the same time, I know when something is wrong, that's your intuition. So it was the right decision to close these ventures, right? The
Mm-hmm.
right decisions to end it where it had to end. Maybe with Roots Food, I would say it could have ended earlier, or I could have stopped the process earlier and not let it go out on my, have a better pregnancy in that sense. But I didn't listen to my intuition because my ego was so up in it that that's Jackie, Malunga Jackie, Moringa Jackie. That's like her brand.
That's your identity.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah,
it's,
yeah.
it's something that really hurts your ego. But I would say intuition, my biggest takeaway is to listen more to your intuition. And how do you do that? You have to sometimes be quiet to listen to your intuition. It's
Mm.
it's something that you have to train. It's something that you can train really easily. But
Mm-hmm.
I was too caught up in listening to other people. I was
Mm-hmm.
caught up to say, okay, because he's a business, he has 10 years of in business, that he should know better. And no, the
Yeah.
only one who should know better is you. You have to learn to know better as a business person or as an entrepreneur. You have to learn to listen to yourself more because the impulses are there. And of course, I still ask a few people that I really respect and really, really know. I think they understand me. So
Mm-hmm.
I sometimes take uh, now advice from strangers lightly, because you can hear it. You can also hear what your customers are saying and trying to fit that in.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
the intuition is my biggest takeaway because I didn't listen to myself. I was too caught up in my what we call in coaching are my shadows of being
Mm-hmm.
being a
Mm-hmm.
victim or being a baby or being like, oh, it's also because we have, they don't know Moringa. No, I don't have the right photographers. Oh, I don't have like money enough. I don't have this enough. And it becomes like a really bad circle instead
Yeah.
of looking for solutions and looking for opportunities. And then at the same time, asking your intuition, what is it that I really want? So I
Yeah.
think listening to my intuition and don't be afraid to start over again is my two biggest takeaways from this. And I'm still
Yeah.
happy that I jumped into the Chris vegan ice cream company because I did really learn a lot because it was um, slightly bigger than what Roots Food ever was. Then
Mm-hmm.
I got to really understand logistics and really understand how trade is happening, how retail is really happening on that scale in Denmark, right? So that's knowledge that somebody can't take away from you. And it's not that I mean, I wouldn't hope bankruptcy for anyone because it's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
something that is nice. But hopefully, it's maybe before bankruptcy, go into something like, okay, I will I'll then focus on how can I pivot or how can
Mm-hmm.
I just pause my company and then restart or close it before it becomes out in a spiral. And I would say I've been somewhat able to manage it so that the debt wasn't really too
Yeah.
significant, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in that sense, but sometimes it's not. You're running a much bigger business, and you will have some kind of debt, especially because of the pandemic. And it's
Mm-hmm.
then you just have to say, what is it my intuition is telling me? How can we live in the uncertainty? Can we pivot the business? Can we
Mm-hmm.
make it into a better platform? Can I have other people to join me so I'm not alone in this
Mm-hmm.
process? Do I need to have some knowledge that I don't have? Like I just met a businesswoman from who's doing another food agency, and she got in an e-commerce expert because she knew on her team because she just knew that this is the way we're going, right? So obviously that sense is good to take in terms of before you go bankrupt to see, okay, is there anything else I can do with this? Can I somehow give out shares in my company? Can I use sweat equity? Some people would love to just work for free, but getting shares in your company. There's
Yeah.
many of creative ways uh, of people joining your team, right?
Yeah, yeah. I totally agree. I can say that, I can totally relate because I have a business with a lot of investors as well. And I can definitely feel the pressure because you're accountable for everything. It's in the middle of the pandemic. Tourism is not working. So what can you report to your investors? But at the same time, it takes a lot of toll on you, because a lot of things are out of your control. So I hope you guys are listening and taking notes, because this is something that, this is the conversation that we want to, to speak out there, because not everyone would speak about their bankruptcy. It's hard for everyone, and it's something that we don't want to, just like Jackie said, we don't want to wish that for any business, but it can happen. So especially with something that is out of your control, like the pandemic. And I really adore you for that, Jackie. Thank you for sharing all these things,
You're
because
welcome.
yeah, I love these conversations, because like I'm definitely like taking notes in my head. So I'm gonna share that maybe later on, after the on the backstage. But um one thing I also can totally relate with you is how I pivoted myself into doing meditation and yoga, when I realized that there's just too much pressure in your head. It's just total clutter. And I think particularly what you said earlier, like you try to associate yourself with your brand. And doing meditation is like detaching yourself to the business, and you gotta breathe. You can take a step back and really think objectively. So how did I know you're doing your you're now a mindset and mindfulness instructor, and I'm so looking forward to your programs. Did you know that you were going to end up creating mind power and being where you are now? So how does this help you grow and pivot and get back out there from the bankruptcy, and of course the Mind Power Academy, who help you power the harness the power of your mind and build a resilient mindset? Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah. So I think that I've always been interested in mindset and spirituality, and like how can we, the self-development journey. I think that's something that is very connected to entrepreneurs in general, that they
Yeah,
understand that they have to look into themselves, because the power comes
totally.
from within. And I think I always knew that I somehow wanted to coach or instruct. I've always been rooting for people in P-Noise. It was about rooting for all the artists and their talent, and making them shine. And within my family and friends, I've always been the one like, you can do it. And since I was ever young, like trying to push people to become their full potential. And so in
Mm-hmm.
that sense, I think it's like a natural uh, way for me to go. And now with the experiences of uh, the businesses, and how to get up again and still being here and still have another running business and being a partner in a new one, Collie and Co. It's just goes to show that you can actually you have a choice. And what I see it is that I always see the mind has a blueprint, and that blueprint comes from our upbringing. Half of it comes from our parents, another half comes from the society, surroundings, and friends. And this is what in the blueprint you have what is called your limited beliefs. And I guess, Susie, you know about limiting beliefs as a coach. This is something that we really try to slay and and kill those limiting beliefs. And so in my resilient mindset program, I try to install a new blueprint, which is your own blueprint of how you want to live your life and how you want to become the full version of you, living your full potential, and eventually making your dreams come true. And so I knew this for myself, and so I wanted to help others to come there as well. And I think as a mindfulness instructor, what is most important for me is that people learn to use the techniques. It's totally up to people how they want to install that in their lives. But obviously, I'm here to provide them. And one of the important things to know, especially if you're stressed and trying to advise how can I advise the more soft side of business. So
Mm-hmm.
in terms of, we talked a little bit about it before, Susie, that there's two
Yeah.
sides of business. And so there's the business, which is pitching, how do you scale, product fit to market, all of this. And
Mm-hmm.
if you drown in that, that's when you lose your intuition, and that's when you lose yourself, and that's when you get stressed. So these are, in other words, also called yin and yang, or feminine or masculine energy, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
what I I experience today in today's world, and especially with the pandemic, which I think is so amazing, is that feminine leadership and feminine energies are becoming more valid. So
Mhm.
mindfulness is also in that kind of soft
Mhm.
side or emotional EQ. So
EQ.
Mhm.
yeah, right. For businesses are becoming as equally important as regular IQ and regular masculine energy businesses, action oriented processes, right? So the way that I work is that if you're already in your business or already in your career or very towards that, and to for you not to have a breakdown, it's important to know how the brain works, and that these kind of mindfulness practices actually is actually proven by scientists that it affects the brain cells and it affects how your brain look like. So you can
Mhm.
literally, no matter how old you are, you can literally change your brain just by the power of thought. And that's what
Mhm.
I think is amazing. So you can actually be able to sit down and say, I want to make a new blueprint, right? And so if you're just caught up in a lot of things and you're very stressed right now, going into meditation or going into just a few breathing techniques can help you restitute.
Mhm.
A lot
Mhm.
of we're breathing like uh, in 1 minute, our breaths are going for maybe 30 breaths per
Yeah.
minute.
Yeah.
And if you calm down, maybe it'll be around 10 or 12, which is in a relaxing state. But if you
Mhm.
really just close your eyes and have 4 in and outs per minute,
Mm.
that's when your brain starts to restitute. And so there's
Mhm.
nothing wrong with fight and flight. That's what we love. We're entrepreneurs, you know. We want to like, bam, bam, bam. I got
Yes.
tools,
Yes.
I got
That's
this,
true.
I got this. We're not like sitting entrepreneurs. We're not sitting down and being like, oh, I'm so zen all the time. That's not in our nature. Like look
Mhm.
at you, look at you guys. You're all energetic. You have all of this side of you that is something that should be there and is
Yeah.
our drive, is our passion. But what we have to learn is that if we just restitute once a day, then we'll
Mhm.
be able to do the fight and flight more powerful. Does it make sense?
Mhm.
Like you'll be able to uh, make the decision more clearly. You'll be able to use your creativity much stronger, and
Mhm.
that is what I'm doing in my program. So
Right.
um, I'm I'm doing two at the moment, which is called Envision Your Future, all on
Mhm.
Mhm.
Envision Your Future is basically for the people who are more lost in their direction and don't know how to get
Ooh.
to their
Yeah.
dream, and
Mhm.
how to use mindset and mindfulness and blueprints to
Mhm.
get more clear and then practice towards the way, and then we're killing their limiting beliefs on in the process of these 6 weeks. And then resilient mindset is more for the people who already know what their dream is, but they have to know how to balance the masculine and the feminine, and how to become resilient in their thought patterns, and
Mhm.
how to restitute. So that's the
Right.
two
Right.
different programs that I have at the moment. Yeah.
You know what, Jackie? I'm 110%. You know this believer of this. If you because I'm practicing this as well. But for all of those people who are tuning in right now, maybe we can show a little technique, a sample that we can do. Like if we are stressed out, I don't know, some short technique, breathing technique, maybe that you can demo to us. Yeah.
Yes. So I think one of the easiest advice I could give is that, just when I talked about, if you time how many breaths you have in a moment when you just relax. So we
Mm.
take 1 minute. So if all of you are counting from 1 minute, I'll time it. I can see the clock there, and you go like, and you count your breaths. This is one, but just do it normally from now. But just like as you breathe normally, count how many you have.
Should we close our eyes or not
No, not
necessarily?
necessarily. For this is just count an estimate of how many. This is one breath. That's one, and then you go like. And the purpose of this, there's 30 seconds left. Just keep on counting. as if you were sitting in front of your computer doing emails. Like, how many breaths do you have?
I can't even speak, guys.
Like,
I don't know what to do. I'm still counting though.
yeah, you're still counting. And just for a few seconds more. All right, there you go. How many breaths do you guys have?
I think I counted 17.
17, yes?
Yeah.
Oh my God, is that a lot?
How many did you have?
I don't want to say.
Come on, that's not all right.
I think I only counted 10.
No.
I think that's really good, though. I think that's
Yeah,
really
that's good. That's good.
So let me.
But okay. No, look, I was just gonna say I had 10 full breaths, but then I was palpitating because of my coffee. So I don't know if that's if it counters the zenness.
But, I mean, just in short, that's when you are in 17, 20 and up, that's already like you're going towards fight and
War.
flight, right?
Yeah.
We're going.
I wasn't relaxed.
Well, maybe you've also been talking, blah blah, but it's
Yeah,
still
that's
it's
true.
not too bad. I mean, I would say myself, I had like 25 when I had to try it. So, and I felt like I was just sitting normally, breathing normally, right?
Mhm,
This is
mhm.
also just a quick test. 10 would be where we are in relaxing state. But actually, if you really have to go into restitution, you need to only have 4, as I mentioned before. And one of the things you could do for that is that you can use your 4 fingers and then, how do I get only 4? That sounds so little, but you can try to just use your fingers and go like, and then just do it really slowly, right? And then you can follow the deep up and down. And so this is my short little thing that you could do at home, which is easy. But the most important stuff is that you try to figure out like how slow do I have to go for 1 minute, and then you follow your fingers, and then you go into, and then at one point you won't need your fingers anymore, right? And then you would just be
Right.
like, okay, if I can go into restitution just in the morning, just when you wake
Yeah.
up after a glass of
Yeah.
water or something. And you don't even have to do it a lot. It's just to see that change for like you do it in a row for 30 days or something like that.
Right. Yeah. And you have like more. I think it's like seeing your body like a system. You put up a system whenever you feel like, okay, there's a big issue or there's a challenging thing that I need to face. But I am, because of this practice, I mean you get to control it. Like you're being calm. I definitely adore that, because I've been practicing meditation for about 2 years, and I don't even have the proper, the proper. I didn't go to academy or anything. I just go to YouTube and follow the Wim Hof method. Recently, that was the that was the last thing I practiced. But even before, like you just follow like a simple breathing exercise on YouTube and you do it consistently. It makes a whole lot of difference on how you think and how you can control your mind. So yeah,
I
I
think
love
one of the things that's very important is that there are so many people who are not feeling good.
Yeah,
All over
agree.
the world. And they
Mhm.
don't understand that they actually have the power of the mind. Even for me, sometimes I'm just human. I get annoyed. I have a kid. I'm like, and then I'm like, okay.
Wait, Jackie, Nico from backstage said he had 19.
Is that bad? That's okay.
That's okay.
Wrong. I mean, there's nothing wrong. It's just goes to explain that if you have 15 and up, you're going towards fight and flight, which is, we just talked about, that's okay. We want to be like upbeat. We're having a conversation. We're sitting here and, we're have fun, but it's just also that 10 is a relaxing, but it's not enough to restitute. So you have to go all the way to 4. So there's nothing wrong with having 19 in a minute. Yeah.
You know
Sorry,
what I noticed? Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead, Sarah. What you noticed?
No, I just noticed when I was working in corporate, with with being mindful about breathing. When I'm in a stressful situation, I would not breathe. Like I would just hold the breath,
Same.
and it took one person to tell me that, like, are you breathing? Like you can breathe out. And I think what Jackie just taught us, it's so simple, but it kind of brings us back to what's normal.
Mm.
You know what you know what I mean?
Mm.
Yeah,
Yes,
the
and
people forget that they can breathe slowly.
yeah, but also being conscious about it, because I don't think, there's so many of us who just goes about our everyday life and we don't think about it. We're just, because that is something we don't think about. Air, you know
Mhm. Mhm.
we don't think
Mhm.
about these things are just like, we don't think about how the brain is affecting now that I can move my hand. It's just given for us. But being
Yeah.
a little conscious about it is
Mhm.
when you can actually say, I can control. And why is breathing so important? Actually, for me, it's that it's connected with your brain. So it's
Mhm.
important that in your brain, that is where you control everything. And this is
Mhm.
where you control your thoughts, you're
Mhm.
able to control your emotions. And that's
Yeah.
what I was about to say before, that like so many people are feeling miserable, but they don't know that they have the ability, they have the small, ability to say, I'm going to stop blaming society.
Mhm.
I'm going to stop blaming my mom. I'm going to stop blaming just for one moment, and just
Mhm.
find focus. Because even though that seems so simple, it seems
Mhm.
so, like, okay, then I'm good for 1 minute. Then what? Because it will actually change your breath. And then there's the next step, which I really believe in, is that then you actually be able to manifest. But as long as you are in that cycle of blaming other people, or being worried, or being like these things, which are normal, but you can stop them by
Right.
breath and by controlling your thoughts. But as long as you're there, your dreams won't come true. That is just simply not going to happen. Then it might come true
Wow.
in
Yeah.
areas. And
Yes.
it's for free, right? It's for free. Why not try? Like, that's what
Mhm.
the point of going back to where I was when I was pregnant. I was like, why not?
Mhm.
Why not at least try? And I see it in my relationship. The times that I've been more aware of just using 10 minutes, 20 minutes a day on myself, these are the
Mhm.
times that I am not fighting with my boyfriend, right? My fiance. So this is it actually affects, as long as I'm good, in a good state, we're fine,
Yeah.
and these things are for free for entrepreneurs to use, and to also leverage more of what the power of the mind can give them, right? So
Yes.
that's the first step.
Totally.
But it's a journey towards really installing a new blueprint. Mm.
Yes, that's true. Sorry, I was about to say earlier, I would like to say hi to Jerry Protasio. So she's one of my mentees. So she's tuning in. Hi Lee. Before I forget.
Hi, Jerry Lee. I think she's watching from YouTube,
Really?
right?
Oh yeah, yeah, she
She-
is. She is. Hello.
for our viewers who are not familiar, maybe with the modern self-development tools, or
Mhm.
even meditation, or the law of attraction, um, I want Jackie to help us understand what is spirituality for her, what is the difference between spirituality, mindfulness, and meditation, and how it can help an entrepreneur become a conscious leader. And first of all, what is a conscious leader?
So, first of all, a conscious leader and an empathic leader is someone who knows how to lead him herself first before being able to lead others. And
Mhm.
I think that was my missing link in my early days as an entrepreneur. I thought leading was one thing that I've learned in business school, and not realizing I have to lead myself first, and be able to not just lead by example. Well, kind of, because I do believe that when you live your full potential, you fill your own cup up of more energy. And as soon as your cup overflows, that's when you can help other people. And when they see you living your full potential, they get inspired and they get affected to also live their full potential. And that's actually what I believe that conscious leadership is, and empathic leadership, and how you actually lift up others. So it has nothing to do with bossing around or setting rules and making sure of these things. It's actually about becoming your full cycle first, and then being able to lead others. Yeah. And I think for me, mindfulness and what was your first question? Mindfulness and
Yeah, is there a difference between mindfulness and meditation?
yes.
Because I think there are they are two different things, right?
Sort of, yeah. So meditation is just the technique, and mindfulness is the whole mindful living is the whole practice. And mindfulness is just could be, now I'm aware of my thoughts and I don't want to go that way. I want to be mindful. So that's like a simple way of explaining it. Whereas meditation is the technique of meditation, of sitting down and
Quieting your
quieting your
thought.
mind. And well, that's actually wrong, because I don't believe in the technique of quieting your mind. I think that's when I did meditation really wrong.
Right.
Or I kind of gave up 6 years ago in meditation, because I thought it was about that. It can be about that, but it's not exclusively to that. It's also about just trying to focus and find focus in the moment. There's a
There's
big,
this.
yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
There's a big research and it's actually in English from a Danish guy called Rasmus Haugaard, and he wrote a book called The Potential Project, and he did a big research in the U.S. about conscious leadership, and also about mindfulness at workplaces. With, I think he used Accenture as one of his big cases, and one of the things that he noticed is that for your happiness, it's more important who's your boss than who's your spouse at home. And that's because you spend so much time at work. But also it leaves at a great deal of responsibility to the leaders out there today. It's like, if you're more important to your employees' happiness than the family at home, then you have a lot on your shoulders. So that's why he talks about how to be more an empathic leader, how we do it in today in more digitalized world. How can you connect to yourself so that others can learn and you can pave the way for others, right? And it's a skill that can be learned as other skill, as well as you go to your the fitness center and train your muscle. The brain is a muscle, and if you can train your brain to different thought patterns, then you can train your emotions as well, and you can learn how to find that extra energies for others and understand how you impact other people around you. Because I think that's the work of today, modern work of today. So I think that's very important to put focus on. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say earlier, I found this comedian. His name is Kyle Cease, and he was in 10 Things I Hate About You and a bunch of 90s movies, and now he's working with Jim Carrey and Eckhart Tolle. So he's into transformational comedy, basically. So he's helping people through comedy, and he was saying something about thought, right? When we meditate, like all these thoughts show up as if maybe most of the time they're limiting beliefs. But he said something that kind of changed my thinking about meditation, and he said, when something pops up, you just hold the space and nurture it and love it, and then let it go. So it's not about stressing out that you have thoughts when you're actually in that 2 hour silence retreat, right? Or in your room. So it's more of like just letting things be. And if thoughts come up, then acknowledge it.
Yeah, that's true.
Definitely. And I mean, that acknowledging is the first part of the process, but you'll have people who doesn't even acknowledge their thoughts. They're accepting that the bad thoughts is a part of life, because the life is conditioned by everybody else. They don't understand that they can actually say, I know that I'm the one who has this thought about something negative, or I can't find an investor. I can't find an investor. It's super hard to find an investor, but that's because it is super hard to find an investor, and that's the condition of life of everything around me. It's not my fault. It's just because, instead of saying, okay, I acknowledge I have that thought of I can't find an investor, and okay, and then in a way you try to shed light on that and say, you know what, it's okay. Maybe you'll get an investor, maybe you won't, but I accept the situation right now. And that thought that you kind of worried, but don't be worried. And you say that to yourself in the process of trying to install your new blueprint. You say, I don't want you to be worried anymore, because if it's meant for you, it's meant for you. Then the right partner or investor would, show up for you. Just keep on doing what you're doing. Just keep on going. And you can also, and that's actually mindfulness, because you can actually, in mindfulness is something called focus shift. And then you'll be like, okay, let me focus my mind on something else. So let me find another way of stopping this negative. I know you're there, but now I want to think about, oh my God, I remember that client who bought this and she was so happy and I empowered her life. That is so amazing. I'm just going to keep on thinking about that, and then maybe go for a walk. Like there's these things try to so it's a process of accepting, but it's also a process of taking the next step. But to do that, you really have to go through your shadows. You have to go through what types of limiting beliefs you are, and that I don't think we would have time for that today, because that's not, but like if people want to know more about that, I'm also doing that in Envision Your Future. But definitely that is something that people can start with at least. Yeah.
Isn't it more funny that when we do want something that we really, really want to have, we think we need, we have, the universe just takes it away. And I think that's kind of similar to, because we've touched on the law of attraction earlier, right? And there's a really funny and simple analogy that I recently came across with. It's like when you have a friend, or you're the person holding a glass and you're so afraid that you might drop the glass of water. So what does the universe naturally does? It takes the glass away from you, right? It wants to help you. So that's how I kind of think of how the law of attraction works. But Jackie, you may be more eloquent in this.
I mean, for me, the law of attraction is that you attract what you are. So if you have these emotions of worry, these things will come to you. If you have these, I'm looking at my fiance. He has no worry in the world, and I'm just and no worry comes to you, because that is the energy that you vibe, and that comes back to you. And I'm like, don't worry about anything. Like literally, like very few things he worries about. He worries about are very simple. So it's like, okay, but you see that in people. Sometimes you realize, you see these people, you say, oh my God, he's just so fortunate and born with a silver spoon in his mouth. And it's just actually, no, that person just have a way of being, because you attract what you are, and we're all magnets. And so the way to see it is that if your thoughts are magnetic, you have to see what they push away and what they attract. So you're absolutely right in terms of like Sarah, in terms of the thinking negatively, or thinking so desperately about something that you want. Just by putting desperate in front of it, then it's already gone. There is a part of you that sometimes I like to use the example of dating, and because I think that's something everybody have been through, in good or bad, and they kind of understand these kind of very simple vibrations there is. So, for example, when I met my fiance, it was really fun. It was really safe. We had such a good time, laughing a lot, and I wasn't worried that he would text me. I remember calling my friend saying that I think you are I think he's ready for something serious. I think he's run up his younger years, but I also think that but I don't know if he's for me or not. But I wasn't worried, because at that point, self-worth was really high. I was like, it's just, if we're a match, we're a match. If not, we're not. Like literally like that. And I try to apply to have that attitude in business, because that's when the flow happened. It went really well. But in other previous cases, maybe I would have been like, I can't. Why is he not texting? Why is he like? I was so kilig, so like, so excited, and so all of these things that it clashed. It's just it was just like, it becomes either desperation. Maybe it wasn't desperation, but maybe it was just like worry, like the excitement of kilig almost go to nervousness, and the nervousness goes to worry, and then it becomes like yeah, I knew it. I knew he was texting another girl, or I knew it, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So what I try to apply in my own thought pattern is like, whatever happens, happens. If this is
Mm.
for you, it will be for you. So there's also a part of like having faith, having trust, which are also some, good things that you can take upon from religion, right? If you're Catholic or Muslim or whatever,
Mhm.
there would be some of these parts. But be aware there's also some very limiting beliefs coming from culture and religion. So just be aware you use it in the right way.
Yeah.
And then so for me, that is how I see law of attraction. That the one thing that all these coaches you might know, Suzie, are saying is also like, if the day you show up as the
Yeah.
one who you're supposed to be, that's the day when everything will come to you, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's literally that when you wake up in the morning. So that's what I'm trying to do. I mean, it's really pitch dark until now. This morning was like 8 a.m. before any sunlight here in Denmark.
Mm.
It's so dark.
Mm.
It's like I
Mm.
thought it was still night when it was 7:30, right? It's like
Yeah.
here, winter in Denmark. And so I really try to like, I have this thing this lately that, okay, I want to clear out completely the kitchen because I want to be able that when I get in there, I'll be like, and I take my first morning coffee because else I'll wake up, fixing the kid and all of this. I'm very stressed, right? So my focus is that I think it's really important to think about how do I today show up as the one that I really want to be. And these can be like really small, like life hacks, and just be like, okay, I'm going to focus on pretending that I'm going to wear my best clothes that I have in the cabinet, and then I'm going to feel like I'm a millionaire today just because of that. There's a lot of free stuff you can do just by putting on, a pair of your cheap sunglasses, but you feel
Yeah.
just a bit more. So helping
Yeah.
these things manifest in physical life by just giving the emotional and the mental life a bit of a head start.
Mm.
And
Mm.
that could also be making delicious food. We're all gonna make food, just or making a nice cup of coffee or a tea, whatever that makes you in that you kind of feel, now I feel good. And
Yeah. The self-care.
because people
Yeah.
don't the people this is so amazing when we talk about this, people don't really understand that they are actually allowed to feel good. Your purpose
Mhm.
of being
Mhm.
in this world is to feel good, because if you don't feel good, you will not be able to help others to feel good. you know
Right.
Amen, sister.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's basically
True.
like, that's why you were born. You were born to be you, no matter how, in which way. Don't listen to who says what. And I mean, I kind of felt guilty because I think my cousin in the Philippines, my young cousin, made a tattoo because I kind of like was like, girl, you're 25, you can do whatever, don't care about your father and blah blah blah. And I'm like, a month after I left the Philippines, Ate, I got
Oops.
a tattoo, and I'm like, sorry, people. So be careful, but still, in a way, I felt proud of her because she's more than I feel when you're 20 or 18, it's like you are in charge of your life, but
Yes.
stand in power, stand with who you are. And sometimes my young nephew, I was looking at him and saying, have you seen, like, when you talk to the young people, like, have you ever seen, do you think Will Smith has been crying all the way to his top, to the top? Do you think he's been complaining all the way to the top? Do you think he's been worried? Yeah, sometimes, but don't you think he kind of stopped the worriness and said, I'll try this and I'll do my best, and then on to the next. So these are also a way of inspiration the young, not only entrepreneurs, but like young people who are trying to find their spot in the world, right? Like to come somehow um, install this faith in their mentality, in their blueprint, and say, believe in yourself, and
Mhm.
don't be afraid to failure and start over again. Don't be afraid to just try things out, but just be always you, be authentically you. And if I'm super open that if I have to uh, if my son gets like to do something else, then maybe, of course, mom will be proud if you choose to be an entrepreneur, or if you choose to do something like with music and arts and be on a scene or whatever. But if he
Woohoo!
if he decides to be whatever he wants, doing something nerdy mathematics and sitting there, something that I might not understand, I would still support him in that, because if I see fire in him doing that, I would support him in anything that he thinks uh that I somehow can make a blueprint for him, that he's his own soul and he is his own master. And also, if you look at people who are really successful today, you look at Lady Gaga, she has her completely own identity, and it's still so weird that we then have to all look alike with our passions and our, everything look alike, I
Mm-hmm.
remember, I don't know if there was one time I saw, I think it was X Factor Philippines, and there was this
Mm-hmm.
girl from the South. I totally forgot her name, but I think she got famous today. And I just remember her from the beginning of the X Factor. She had this
Yeah.
curly hair, flowery dress, dancing around, very talented singer.
Is
And
this
Uh-huh.
Casey Tandingan?
I thought it's Casey. Yeah.
yes, I think so. And then
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I felt sad at the end of the program. She was already in a tight leather dress, straightened her hair, you know,
Mm-hmm.
looking like everybody else of Philippines. I don't know, like how I think today she's short hair, whatever. I haven't seen her like, but just that process of there, I felt like, no, actually, what I liked about her and her authentic self was when she was just being her with her
Yeah.
flower,
Yeah.
curly hair, and being like. But that's a whole nother long story. I feel there's a whole brown skin girl movement in the Philippines and all of this stuff that I really love. But that's
Yes. Woo.
I definitely love that as well, because that is also a part of, like, you are here to be your authentic self. It's just,
Yes.
and you are here to feel good, and you're
Mm,
here to feel good so others can feel good. And it's been my
yeah.
mistake as well, because I thought that, oh, I have to help everybody. I have to help everybody. I want to work in NGOs. I want to work in
Mm,
areas where I
mhm.
can save the poor, yada, yada, yada. But I forgot myself in the process and wasn't able to save the poor or help anybody or inspire anybody, because I didn't help myself first. I didn't
Mhm.
succeed because I didn't think about myself first. And
Mhm.
that is what I really want to say to all the entrepreneurs out there: living your
Mm,
full potential, prioritizing your own mindset, feeling good has nothing to do of not being able to help others. And I'm saying this especially out to Filipinos who have a big charity heart and always helping. And it's like, it's okay. You can sometimes protect your own energy and store up and fill up your own cup first before you give it all out. And then you crash. And then what, And so, yeah, that was just
all
my
right.
wrap it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like whew. So true,
A
so
lot of
true.
information.
Yeah, I do agree with everything. I think we're gonna take the whole day just discussing about this, but we don't have a lot of time. So I think we're gonna reserve for another episode for this one, Jackie. But for now, I think what we're talking about right here is very relevant, especially today, because a lot of entrepreneurs are caught up inside their own home, their own house, and they're just full of. It's easy to get caught up with everything. Like you don't know the boundaries of your life and your work anymore, and also there's also the family if you're living with children or everything. So for me it's like, yeah, it's a big thing if you know how to take control of your mind, because there's always like a lot of spaces there for everything, and if you know how to use it and take a step back and make some space for yourself, then I think, yeah, that's removing all the blockages that you have in your business or in your life as well. So I love that we're doing this because it's a holistic approach to entrepreneurship. So it's not just about, getting the money, getting the profit, but also like how do you fit in everything in your life, from the family to your kids to your passion to your advocacy. So I love this. But I know that we don't have a lot of time to discuss everything. So what is the future for Jackie Luzy, and where can people find you so that we can recommend you to the people? And of course, I would love to invite you to speak to the mentees as well. So I'm gonna ask you for that.
Yes.
And maybe if would you have tips for people who want to get into the same industry and who would want to be a mindfulness coach or do a coaching as a career? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think what there's a lot of places where you can become a coach or become an instructor and all of these things. I think it's very important that you tap into the people that you think you connect with, and that you feel that they have something, that you're just vibing and you feel like this is somebody who I would love to work with, because a mentor, a coach is somebody who's going to be coaching you on a personal level as well. And for you to be able to really move somewhere into life, you have to be comfortable with that person. And you have to feel that, you're vibing with it. And then some of the coaches are also quite expensive. So you have to figure out, is this the investment? But I do believe that if you're in a place where you're able to invest something, it's always good to show the commitment of investing in yourself, because this is the next level of your entrepreneurship self-development side, right? So yeah, and next year I will offer something called Mindful Business Mentor for the people who are already coaches, who are maybe already entrepreneurs themselves, and be able to use some of these strategies that I talked about today, and and a bit more about how you use mindfulness in business, and how you use mindset in your business, and working towards building your new blueprint, but also working on how you teach that to others. So it becomes like a mindful business mentor certified program on my website, together with some contributors here from Scandinavia, and maybe also some in the Philippines. So, but that will be on next year. But you're welcome to check my site and my Instagram also in the meantime.
Yeah. So what is your Instagram and your website, please?
So my Instagram is mindpower.me. And then my website is JackieLuzy.com. So yeah, you get, and it's all in English. Sometimes I do post some things in Danish if it's relevant for my Danish, but mainly it's 90% English. So.
All right.
Yeah.
So please check out the website and the Instagram account of Jackie. Ooh. Oh, we got a Justin Lourdes said, "Great episode, ladies. Thank you." Thank you, Justin, for tuning
Thanks
in.
for tuning in, Justin.
Yes.
Justine.
Justin. Oh, is your friend?
Yes.
She's your friend. Okay.
Thanks, Justine. She actually helped me make the website, and she's in El Nido right now. So she's the one who made my website, and together with the Bright Choice Boys in El Nido. So shout out
love
to
it.
Hello.
Yeah.
From
Hello.
Manila. Okay, should we go to our biggest takeaway, Suzie?
Yes, we should.
There.
You go first.
I mean, I don't even know where to begin. There are a lot of gold nuggets from today's episode. So thank you, Jackie.
You're welcome.
Let's start with following your bliss, because based from your stories, like, things opened up for you because you were being, and you were doing things that you love. It may have not worked out, but you're still on purpose. It still led you to where you are now. And maybe second would be, we spend 8 hours, 10 hours a day working. Maybe even more now that we're working from home. And if meditation is something that science has proven to be beneficial for you physically, emotionally, and mentally, and for your career, your business, just give it 30 minutes a day if you haven't tried it. Because you see people like Suzie and Jackie who have been doing meditation for years, and you see a lot of successful entrepreneurs do it. So I think it's something that even kids should be taught in school. That's my personal opinion. What about you, Suzie?
I think for meditation and mindfulness, I think Jackie already covered everything that you need to know about it. Also, I agree with everything, and so I think my biggest takeaway would be break up if it's not working anymore. something. It could be for your relationship or for your business. But I think somewhere, down the road, I'm gonna need that advice, because I'm also the kind of entrepreneur that, I would do everything to make it work. But I do need to, maybe I one day I do need to get to that point wherein I have to face that decision to, detach myself from a business that is not working anymore. So far, I don't need that advice yet, but I think that anyone who are listening right now, if you are a new entrepreneur, I think you should be able to recognize this when it happens to you. So at some point, not everything is perfect. So one day you're going to realize that you are holding on too much to something, that you are letting go of a new opportunity. So again, it's for business and for relationship. That's my biggest takeaway.
That's good.
I want to hold the space also for our live viewers and for people who are watching this on replay. For our live viewers, first and foremost, share this to your friends if you think this will be beneficial for them.
Yeah.
Type your biggest takeaway in the comment section, and let us know what you learned from Jackie today. Jackie, any last words for our viewers?
Yes, I'm just super excited to be able to reach out to you guys in the Philippines and all the viewers from the Philippines, and I really miss the Philippines. But hopefully I'll be able to
I can
come
see you
there.
in Siargao.
Yes, I'll definitely come there and connect with you all and do some more mindfulness practice there, and just uh, if there's something that I love about the Filipinos is that they're intrinsically very entrepreneurial. Every time I meet them, they always have this idea of wanting to do either in not necessarily always tech, right? Like in smaller businesses as well, as you're working with Suzie, and just the creativity is endless within the Filipino people. They have the beautiful nature around them. They have community and society. It's just that sometimes structurally in society and culture, we're kind of like pushed down into doing X, Y, Z, or to take an education. And I think what is really what I'm rooting for is that you all follow your dreams, because I meet too many who has to take an education in certain line because their parents tell them to, right? So I hope that I see the next generation there who is doing so much more. All the young millennials who have the opportunity to be self-taught, to learn everything on YouTube, being so well-spoken in English, you have an amounts data, access to data and knowledge. And so I'm just like looking for every young Filipino entrepreneur out there, or aspiring entrepreneurs, and just, you guys can do it, and just keep on trying and figuring out what works for you in the situation that you're in.
All right.
Again, guys, if you want to get in touch with Jackie, you may go directly to JackieLuzy.com. She's also at Mind Power by Jackie Luzy on social, and mindpower.me, right?
Mhm. Yes,
Yes.
that's right.
If you've enjoyed today's episode, there are more content like this at ESME's Facebook and YouTube pages. And please watch out for the Future of Women Web and Works,
Yay!
our very own public page soonest.
Yay!
And if you think this episode will help someone don't forget to share this to your friends. We'd love to know your biggest takeaway from today. So type them in, and maybe Jackie can respond to one of your questions if you do have one. Yeah, so thank you again, Jackie.
Bye, guys.
And oh, she just left. Okay, she's back. Just before we
And she's
end,
back.
yeah, can I do a bit of promotion? So I'm going to host a 3-day boot camp at my own group. So it's called Critters to Starters on Facebook. So it's about turning your if you don't have any idea yet on what you want to create as a business in the future, or you already have an idea but it's very vague. So I can take you from zero to a business idea validation for only 3 days. So please, please, it's completely free. You can just join in the group and I would mentor you on those 3 days, and have that idea ready by 2021. So new year, new business. Why not? And of course, please like my page, The Modern Maria Business Coaching, and also my Instagram, themodernmaria.co. Sarah?
Woohoo! The next wave co, you guys.
Okay. All right. So thank you, everyone. I think that's about it. So thank you, everyone, for
Thank
for
you.
tuning in, and have a happy Friday. Yay! Happy weekend, everyone.
This has
Bye.
been this has
This
been
is
Sarah,
and Suzie.
and this is the future of women, web, and work. See you in the future.
See you in the future. Bye.
Bye,
Thanks,
guys.
Jackie.
Bye, Jackie.